So, as most of you, I think, have kind of caught on to at this point, modern folders aren't really my thing. For whatever reason, I'm just not super like into them like I am with traditional pocket knives, like a good slip joint, traditional pocket knife, um, whatever else you want to call them. An old man knife, which is how I kind of explain them to people who don't know the knife lingo. I just say I carry old man knives or grandpa knives, pretty much, because it's, probably what our grandpas, fathers, uncles, depending on how old you are. A lot of you, I imagine it was probably your father or uncle or you um, would carry. Now, that being said, these days, the modern folder is kind of what you expect when you hear the word pocket knife, at least when you're a young person like me. That being said, when I'm talking about pocket knives, I'm talking about the old pocket knives, the old style of pocket knives, where it goes down in your pocket, rides with your keys and your change and your lighter and all the other nonsense you keep in your pocket on a daily basis, because that's what I'm into. Something about the slip joints, traditional pocket knives, whatever you want to call them, something about them just is what makes me happy. It's what I like to buy. It's what I like to collect. What I like to carry. All of those things. So that's what I'm really into. But that being said, this is obviously a modern folder. Um, I have wanted one of these for a while. Now, Zach from Blade HQ, if you guys know who I'm talking about, he showed one of these, not this version, an older version, on a video for Blade HQ a couple years ago now. And as soon as I saw the knife, I thought, well, that's cool looking. I like that. And this is the Chaves Ultramar Redencion 229. This one is the Kickstop version. I'll show you what that means then. And the drop point blade, because I cannot sharpen a tanto to save my life, and I don't really like tantos. I like a good drop point though. This one's in green micarta, but Chavez, from what I understand, is a custom knife maker. And then a few years ago, he contracted these knives through Riot, I want to say, although I don't know modern knife manufacturers as well as I know. I don't know modern folder manufacturers as much as I know the manufacturers of traditional pocket knives. Um, but I think he contracted these with Riot, which is a Chinese company, and he called these the Ultramar knives. And basically, it's kind of a way for people like you and me who don't buy custom folders to get their hands on a Chavez knife. So these are made in China. It appears to be really well made, though. China's really been getting their stuff together in the past like half decade when it comes to manufacturing, especially pocket knives, like We Knives, like WE Knives, puts out some incredible knives, and so does Civivi, which I think is like the budget brand from We Knives. They put out some incredible stuff. QSP puts out some incredible stuff. Jack Wolf Knives, I believe they're made in China. Um, but so China's really been stepping up their game in the past like half decade, a little more than that. They've been doing a great job on pocket knives and stuff in general. So I don't really see the Chinese thing as like a low quality thing. Do I wish it were made in the United States? Sure. But do I really care? Not really. Um, but politics aside, this is the knife. It's very large and I really like it. It's got kind of a, what is that called? Is it saber grind? Where it like curves in a little bit. It's like a concave. I think it's called a saber grind. Buck does it. Buck does it on the 110. That'll explain it to you guys. Um, but it's kind of got like a, I think it's a saber grind, like a saber grind on the blade. So this will really cut really well. I really like the drop point on these because it's It's gigantic, and like the radius of it just looks really cool. This is a blade made out of really thick blade stock too. So I mean, it's definitely a using knife. Like this knife was meant to be used to cut things and stuff. Really large knife. Blade measures 3 3/4, something like that. Cutting edge of 3.5 about. You can see Chaves' little logo there, the key there with the skull on it. This is a frame lock. This side where the frame lock is titanium. Look at that ridiculous pocket clip. Um, Again, this is kind of his logo. If the skull isn't your thing, they do include a regular pocket clip to switch it out with, which is nice. I think I'll probably just leave the skull on it because it's his like logo pretty much. So probably just leave that on there. I think it's kind of neat. It's a little ridiculous, but I mean, this whole knife's a little ridiculous. Frame lock, like I said, titanium frame lock. That out of the way there. Super smooth action, and I think this is on not bearings. I think this is on brass washers instead of bearings. My problem with bearings is bearings are awesome and everything, but they're not really like hard use knife kind of pivot system, really. So this is the Kickstop here. This is a flipper tab, and then the tipper tab. The flipper tab disappears. It's not on the blade tang like it typically is with a flipper. And where the flipper goes is it's somehow mounted on like a track or something in the handle of the knife. So it just stays in there. And then like if you go to close the knife here, if I demonstrate, that tab just kind of moves around. So it's on like a track or something. And then when you put it away, it's up against the blade. So it deploys the blade and then it stays in the handle so it's not in your way, which is kind of cool. That being said, I think I may have preferred the thumb stud version of this knife, but this one was on sale. So this is the one I bought. Um, but the build quality of this knife seems really good. I like the titanium handle, and then the micarta handle scale on the other side. This is green canvas micarta. You can see it's already started to pick up some of my oil from my hands and everything. They do a version of this knife in black, black coated blade, but then everything else is also black, including the titanium side. So I decided to not go with that. And I think I'm happy I did. I think I prefer the satin blade over the black coated blade. Although on modern folders, I think typically I like a black coated blade just because it has a little bit of that feel of like a traditional pocket knife with a black coated blade that like it'll show use and everything. Like the black will start to scratch off of it and wear off of it in spots and stuff. So I really like that, and I think that's probably why I like black coated blades for modern folders. But on this knife, I'm happy that I went with the satin because I think it looks really nice. That being said, on sale, this knife was $200, which is what I paid for it. I think typically they're around 300 or like 350, which I was not willing to pay for it. That's why I had waited so long to buy one. But then I went on Blade HQ and it just so happened that these were on sale for $200. So I decided to just go ahead and buy one because I've wanted one for a while, just because it's a ridiculous looking knife and I think it's really cool looking. That being said, I don't know how often I'm going to carry this because I've bought quite a few modern folders in the past few years, and I've carried them a little bit, but not like I thought I would. And I always end up going back to just carrying a pocket knife in my pocket, no knife clipped to my pocket or anything. Um, so I'll say that I'll probably carry this and everything. But honestly, I don't really know. I mean, obviously, I'd like to carry it because it's an expensive knife and it's a nice knife and everything. Oh, blade steel. I should probably talk about that. That's important on modern folders. Blade steel's M390 right here, M390. So, you know, Pretty good blade steel. Some blade steel nerd will say, that's ridiculous. M390 for $200. It should be in what's the new one? Magna Cut. That's the new blade steel. That's the one everybody wants right now. I don't care. Don't care. If this knife was in D2, I'd be just as happy with it. I don't need some ridiculous super steel because, like 95% of you watching this video, the thing I use my knife for most is opening things, opening boxes, opening up Amazon packages, opening up blister containers, stuff like that. Stuff like that doesn't wear out your blade like cutting rope all day does, or stuff like that. Now, if you're somebody who does that kind of thing, you probably have a $5 knife that you got at a hardware store 10 years ago. Because people who typically do that kind of work have a cheap knife and don't have a really nice knife with high end steel. Most people. Some people do. Some people out there have really nice knives that they do really hard work with. But I wouldn't say that's the majority of people. Um, so M390 is fine. I think Magna Cut. I mean, I've heard some awesome things about Magna Cut, but I just don't care. I'm a traditional knife guy. My favorite steel is 1095 carbon steel, and that's just how I feel about it. So I don't really care what kind of steel a knife is made out of. The thing that attracts me to knives is the design, especially modern folders, is the design. And this has a really cool design. So I like it no matter what blade steel it's in. But yeah, super cool knife. Um, to my normal subscribers, don't worry. I'm sure the next video after this is about a traditional pocket knife, so don't worry. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video on the Chaves Ultramar Redencion 229. Pretty cool modern folder, pretty expensive modern folder, but I think I like it. But anyway, it's going to be it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.